All right, boys, I'm so stoked right now. This intake is going on for the last time. What's up, GT gang? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, I'm Mojo GT, and today we have a very special package. This is the one thing that really is going to put the icing on the top for the Charger. Something I've been waiting for a while and contemplating a while, and today we're going to have Milo help me unbox this. So let's go ahead and get started and show you what's in the box. Get it, Milo. It's all you, buddy. There you go. It's all you. Get it. Go get it. All right, so while Milo's busy over there, I'm gonna go ahead and open this part. Oh my gosh. All right, so here it is, guys. This is my 5-row aluminum radiator. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. There's really nothing else to it. All right, guys, so now I have these pedestals installed into the intake manifold. I'm gonna get ready to install my fuel rails. So they are directional. The Holley sniper goes to the front on each side. So I'll just have it up here. I mean, I guess it's not really directional. They can be flipped around, but the Holley sniper is supposed to be in the front. So I just mocked it up, and it looks like I don't need the supposed spacers for the injectors, at least on this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and check this side to make sure that that's the truth. And if I don't need the spacers, I'm not gonna run them. I was under the impression I had to run injector spacers for this. All right, guys, so I can tell you straight up that you do not need injector spacers. Everything fits really, really good, and actually is a little bit tighter than what I was anticipating. I figured it would kind of just hold it in place, but it sucks it down really good. It ain't going anywhere, and you definitely don't need those spacers. So just be careful on this side. You want to bolt your bracket on as tight as it's going to be before you actually install it. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to tighten it, that Allen bolt, the socket head. So I really contemplated changing this hose out for black AN hose, which what I'm running everywhere else. But I have subtle aluminum showing everywhere, and my girlfriend Marquis, I asked for her advice, and she thinks that I should run this. So I'm gonna do it. I tighten it up with my aluminum Jegs Allen wrench, or my aluminum wrench for AN fittings. So I'm ready to install this. I'm going to put my hoses in the intake manifold, set it in place, and bolt it down. I'm going to take off my tape, clean up the surface a little bit, throw it on, guys. I'm super excited. Let's go ahead and throw this thing in for once and for all. All right, boys, I'm so stoked right now. This intake is going on for the last time. Like, I'm literally going to bolt it in. My girlfriend's car just died. That's why you buy Mopar, people. Gosh, I guess I am a mechanic, so I guess that's my problem. Anyway, I'm ready to throw this thing on. I'm super excited. It's been so long. I've only been mocking this up. Let's get it. I'm so excited. So what I'm going to do now, these are the O-ring gaskets. They kind of just sit in there, and they're not too big. They're not too small. They're perfect. And they don't really just press in. They kind of just lay there. Like I just dropped one. They kind of just lay in there. So what you need to do is take a little bit and like 2 corners on every single port, as well as the PCV locations. Just a little dab, just enough to hold the O-ring in, so while you set the intake in, it doesn't fall out, and then you obviously have a vacuum leak. So I'm going to do that on all 8 and 2 PCV locations. Set the intake in, and yeah, we'll go from there. Definitely don't use RTV around the whole thing, guys. Less is more in situations like this. Okay, so while I have that setting up a little bit, what I'm gonna do is use a little bit of brake clean on a rag, clean up my gasket mating surface. Then we're gonna set it in place, guys. So it's about to go down. So I didn't get a chance to show you guys before I left, but here's what it looks like. Everything's installed. Installed the gaskets with the RTV on the corners. I'm not sure if I showed you guys that. It's been a week since I've been here. Torqued the intake manifold bolts. I used some ARP 6-point bolts that I ordered. I'm not sure what size they were. I think they were 45 mil. I'm not sure, but here's a part number. 60-1005. Anyway, got those torqued to 124 inch-pounds, and this bad boy is in place. So I only have one fuel line to run now. It'll be from the regulator to this line. It's going to kind of, hopefully it doesn't kink right here, but it's going to have to go underneath the throttle body. I guess we'll see how that goes. Kind of worried about that, to be honest, but yeah, I guess we'll see. I'm not sure how that's going to play out. If anything, I might have to like change this line to a straight, make this one more of an angle, and then go around that way. But I guess we'll find out. So the parts that I got in over the week while I was gone for work were, I got this power distribution block with 6 circuits, 6 fuses. Power goes in the top, all the ground goes in the, or power goes into the bottom, all the ground through the top. Pretty self-explanatory. It's actually really sick. I really like it. Pretty discreet. It's going to go behind my radio. I plan on running my AFR gauge, coolant temp, or no, AFR boost, what is the other one? Trans temp, line lock, and then I think I'm going to go meth injection, so I'll have 5 circuits for that. So yeah, pretty straightforward, guys. I'll have an extra circuit. I'm going to run 6-gauge wire all the way up to this to be more than good enough for the amp draw that this is going to require. And then I also got the 1/8 inch NPT to 1/4 inch push to connect 90. So where that's going to go is all the way back there, and I'll run my my vacuum line behind the intake straight into the fuel pressure regulator. Pretty self-explanatory. And then I have some relays here and a relay kit. The wiring's not the best, but I think it'll do. I'm not really doing a race spec setup. Maybe one day I'll change everything, but I think it'll be fine for what it is. It'll be inside the cabin. It won't be in the engine bay, so not too worried about it. I know Matthew's probably cringing by seeing that PVC wiring, but I'm sorry. I apologize. Anyway, now what I'm going to do is disconnect the vacuum manifold, pull off one of the 1/8 inch fittings, replace it with the 90-degree, probably the left one right here, and then throw it back in, and then we can run this vacuum line, and then I can see what I can do about running this vacuum line, how I'm going to route that, because it goes down to a intake pipe down here, which is the blowout valve. So my fuel lines are officially done. So what I want to do is take these lines off and actually spray them out with brake clean, simply because when I installed this fitting and blew out with air, I noticed that particulates didn't all come out. So I want to make sure that I don't get any of those particulates in my fuel injectors. So I'm going to pull these back off one by one, spray them out, and reinstall them. Pretty simple, guys. I just want to take every measure I possibly can to make sure that nothing happens with my fuel lines or my injectors. I'd hate to destroy $700 injectors. That would really suck. So let's go ahead and do that. This one's already done, installed, so I can take this one off from the filter and the fuel rail and just go from there. All right, guys, huge step. So as you can see, the radiator that came from factory is installed. Unfortunately, the aftermarket radiator is too wide, and our fan shroud was actually hitting the Procharger brackets, and the fan shroud was hitting the harmonic balancer. So in order for this to work, it looks like what we would have to do is either get a thinner fan shroud, or we're running the OEM radiator, and I only have one of those options in front of me. So we're going to go ahead and button this up. I'm going to throw the radiator support, upper radiator support in, and then we'll try to map in some intercooler piping. May even get to the crash bar today, but we do want to make sure that we get the transcooler lines here So they're right by the bypass valve back there. We have to have a bracket that is right here. So we're gonna make sure we get that done, and that'll pretty much do it. That's where we're at right now. So we're gonna go ahead and throw that up radiator support in and button up some sensors. We have a lot of like ABS, or not ABS, it's gonna be SRS sensors, things like that. So let's go ahead and get her going. All right, guys, so here's the trans cooler mounted up. We have a 45-degree here and a straight here running through, going down through here. I'm gonna try to use my phone battery light, but looks like my phone might die. We have it going through here. Sorry for the bad camera angles here, guys, bear with me. Going to the bypass valve, and I actually have to have a 1-inch longer bolt that goes in the AC compressor, and then a 1-inch spacer in order to use the factory mounting location as well as the bracket. But it's gonna fit perfect, guys. I'm super excited. It works great. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this crash bar on and see where it gets us. All right, guys, we're gonna call it night. It's like what, 4:30 in the morning. We've been plugging away at this for 7 hours. So everything is mocked up. We need new hardware. We have to relocate the horns, and the instruction manual, it just says they need to be turned. That is not the case. This hose is like, I mean, this is kind of unreal how tight that is. But this is kind of sitting where it's gonna be. Everything's just mocked up. Found out that the power steering cooler can absolutely not go where it's supposed to. So, and that is something that they did mention. They mentioned that they put it down here, but we're not going to do that either. So it's pretty much where your intercooler is going to sit on your stage 2 kit, with a hard piping right here going up through into the main charge of the head unit. But instead of relocating the power steering cooler, what we're doing, since we have a trans cooler that we're just going to end up moving down a little bit farther, we didn't realize that where we put it would basically come in the way of this Procharger. You can see it's kind of kicked back. But we're going to use the power steering cooler, or we're going to use the old trans cooler from factory that runs to the top of the AC condenser as the trans cooler. So it's going to be super simple. We are
power steering cooler.
Oh, that's okay. So we're going to use the old factory trans cooler, which is the top of the AC condenser, as the power steering cooler. So we're going to use these lines, just cut them off right here, use a brake flaring tool to give us a lip, so when we add a hose clamp, it doesn't slide off. So it's going to be super simple, guys. I mean, I'll show you tomorrow. I'll try to get that tomorrow. I need to get some hardware here, and I need to shop around for some Procharger parts. I'm not a huge fan of, it looked like somebody sawed this off, and possibly even gonna shop around for this one. So that's pretty much gonna do it for the night, guys. Thank you so much for watching the video. Very long day, and I'm glad that we got this much done. I mean, if we had throttle body spacer done, or adapter, throttle body mounted, and this coupling, we've basically done with the intake system. If we had the throttle body done as well as the adapter. But we're really close. We got a lot done today. We got the power steering rack installed, as well as the power steering rack installed, trans cooler, and that bypass valve set where we want it to with the trans cooler lines ran. So basically we're just gonna end up having to move this down, is what it looks like. We might even move it to the bottom left here. We'll just move it straight down, see what that gets us. Basically so we don't have to cut new lines. Shout out to Procharger for making this way harder than they make it seem like. Your manual sucks. And basically what I would like as a consumer from Procharger, and this is not, I guess I exaggerate a little bit. So they don't say this hose goes here, this hose goes here, this part goes here. It's more like some parts are a lot more vague than others, and some are way more in depth than others. And I think from a consumer standpoint, you want it to be consistent across the board. Either have a really shitty manual that okay, I guess the whole thing kind of sucks. Or kind of blow me away. Wow, they went in a lot of detail in this entire thing. But it seems like I find myself, oh wow, they actually went in depth pretty good here. And then on some parts are like, you showed a picture of this and then it's 3 steps later and you say that's the next step. I don't know. But anyway, thank you so much for watching the video. My rant is over for the day. I'm super tired. We're ready to go home. And see you in the next one, guys. Peace.